everybody. It's Chicks and Salsa and Smokin, Jeremy B. How's everyone doing this week?
Doing well. How are you, Miss Jen? Let's face it. I'm ecstatic. I got to meet you in person. Like,
me
it
too.
Doesn't get any better than that.
Really good waffles.
Yes.
And Scott only got to try one waffle because he's a fuddy-duddy and won't share. But
yes,
my husband won't share either, so I understand. But I had a blast meeting you guys. Y'all are fun.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you.
I knew that was going to be that way, though. Come on, you're fun on the air, so you know that automatically translates. Come on.
I knew you guys were going to be fun too. I was really excited to see you. I'm glad I got I woke up when I did because usually on Saturdays, but I really had to go number one because don't do diuretics, kids. You got to pee a lot. And then, hi, Walter.
Hello, Walter. Nice to meet you.
And hi, Josh.
Hi, Josh.
But we had a great time. Then we went and had some, I'll say, decent barbecue. Did you guys stop by Lexington House on the way home?
We did not. Makes me sad. I'm trying to think what we did when we left. We just stormed out of there so we could get home because it was like 8:30 in the morning.
Oh yeah,
and because we had to drive 12 hours, so yeah, we couldn't stop. Timing, they weren't open.
Okay, I'll give it.
You'll give what?
Dog check.
And what? Did everybody have a good 4th of July?
I spent all of it watching fireworks everywhere because I had no time with getting out of work at 7 o'clock to travel anywhere, and don't think going downtown Flint is a good place to watch fireworks these days. So I sat at home, turned on YouTube, and how's my transition going? And salsa with Smokin, Jeremy B. So I am not included in the Chicks and Salsa.
No. Joshua, you're funny.
4th of July, we did baseball. So we were down watching the Marlins versus the Red Sox because what's more American than baseball, hot dogs, hamburgers, and on 4th of July. It was good, even though the Marlins didn't win. But we also saw them on Sunday, and they were playing the other Sox team. So they played the Red Sox on 4th of July. On Sunday, they played the Chicago White Sox. And that was an exciting end of the game because they came back, they tied it, and then they had a 3-run home run to win the game on Sunday. So we saw a loss on the 4th of July, but we saw a win on Sunday. So
that's awesome.
Some god awful.
What else did you see happen?
I saw fireworks from here to Vegas. I watched it repeatedly till it was done at 1 a.m.
No, I was asking Katie. Did something kind of special happen at one of the baseball games?
Oh yeah, before one of the games, on Sunday, the girl that threw out the ceremonial first pitch, her at the time boyfriend got down on one knee after she threw out the pitch and proposed, and she said yes. So they got engaged right there on the mound, which was pretty cool.
And Josh,
I love that.
Scott went streaking at the game. Oh my!
You're such a good one. So we kind of have an action-packed show tonight. And if you guys don't know Jeremy, then Jeremy has an amazing show. He's one of our biggest supporters. We love him. And we that's for you, Jeremy. I don't know if you see it. Yeah. JB getting it early, I see.
Yes.
And then
shows tonight.
What am I showing? What's going on tonight?
Back-to-back shows for me, from here to Inside the Pigskin.
Yep. He's on South Florida Tribune. Yep. After this.
That's why. Hence the hat. Hence how I write for him. I should promote everything.
For real, Walter. I'm so glad she said yes.
Mm-hmm.
So we kind of have an action-packed show tonight. We're going to discuss some like good things, some not so good things. Candy's going to end us with a really happy story that's really kind of cool. But to start us off, I want to let Jeremy start us off. He has some really cool shows, but this one's kind of hits home for a lot of us. So,
according to Maryland State Police news release, which I have right here, on July 6, 2024, Maryland State Police are investigating a fatal crash that claimed the 3 lives in the morning in Prince George's County. The deceased are identified as Isaiah Hazel, 23, of Upper Marlboro, Kyrie Jackson, 24, of Waldorf, and Anthony Litton, Jr., 24, of Upper Marlboro. Hazel and Jackson were pronounced deceased on the scene by emergency medical service personnel. Litton was transported to the University of Maryland Capital Regional Medical Center, where he was pronounced dead by hospital personnel. All 3 victims were occupants of a maroon Dodge Charger involved in the crash. Hazel was the driver, Jackson was the front seat passenger, and Litton was seated in the rear of the vehicle. Shortly after 3:14 a.m. that morning, troopers from the Forestville Barrack responded to a crash on northbound Route 4, Pennsylvania Avenue, Presidential Parkway, north of Dover House Road in Upper Marlboro. 3 vehicles involved in the crash was a silver Infiniti Q50, a silver Chevrolet Impala, and a maroon Dodge Charger. The preliminary investigation indicates the driver of the silver Infiniti, later identified as Corey Klingman, was traveling northbound on Route 4, Pennsylvania Avenue in Prince George's County, when she struck the side of the Dodge Charger, then struck the Impala. The Charger subsequently traveled off the right side of the roadway and struck multiple tree stumps where the vehicle came to rest. Klingman had 2 other passengers in her Infiniti at the time of the crash. No one was injured in her vehicle. The Chevrolet Impala was occupied solely by the driver. He was also uninjured in the crash and refused medical treatment at the scene. So they say that alcohol was involved, and they reopened the case at 10:20 a.m. on July 7th and closed it on July 8th. The travesty is 4th round pick Kyrie Jackson. He was somebody a lot of teams were high on because of his size. He was 6'3", 205 pounds, and ran a 4.49 So he was in the average speed for corners. Tall, lengthy, an in-air ball defender for Oregon while he played there. So it's not just the Minnesota Vikings who took him in the 4th round that is hurt. It's also his Oregon alumni that are in the NFL that was drafted and not drafted, and all of his teammates that still remain with that team. One of my friends, he lives near U.S. Bank Stadium in the training facility, and when he was driving by the training facility on the way to work that morning, he noticed that every single car was already in the parking lot for the teammates and coaches, and he knew something was going on, but it hadn't been released yet. I think it got released around 10 a.m. by Adam Schefter and Ian Rappaport and all those guys, but they got. Yeah, he was a transfer from Bama, absolutely. So he has Bama ties. So he has ties to the SEC, ties to the former Pac-12, now known as the 2-Pac, and the NFL. And they were actually saying during OTAs a lot of good things about Kyrie Jackson. He had a good chance to start as the CB2, seeing how that secondary was kind of been in flux for the past few years. And they were really hoping that he was at least going to be the CB2, if not the nickel corner for that team. And that's a starting spot. As far, whenever you hear that, a nickel is a formation. So that's a starting position for a player. So he was at least going to be a starter on that roster. And it's a crying shame that his life was taken too early while doing the right thing. And the thing I want to address is I remember up until, 2016, Chris Carter used to do the rookie symposium. And the thing he always told the rookies when they were coming in, nothing good happens after midnight, so try to be home by then. And I'm not saying it's Kyrie Jackson's fault because he did the right thing. He had a designated driver. him and Litton were not driving. That is the key component to this. And yet, they both lost their lives because they decided to go out. And I'm not saying he made a bad decision. I'm saying he made the right decision and still had it in poorly. So,
and Isaiah wasn't drinking either, and he was the driver.
Right, he was the designated. He didn't drink all night. It was just them guys celebrating the fact they just got done with OTAs, and it was their first weekend off after OTAs before they go back to camp. Because the rookies report a week early to training camp than the vet. So, while everybody else reports on the 26th through the 29th for all the NFL teams, the rookies report next week. So, my biggest thing is family. They have to do something no parent should do in that period.
Yep.
All those ones that passed away have to bury their children, 23, 24 years old. It's
all of them. And I feel bad for Isaiah Hazel's family. I also feel bad for Anthony Litton's because Isaiah was a starter here at UNC Charlotte last year. He recorded how many? 45 tackles, 17 solo, averaged 3.75 tackles. He had a high in one game of 75 tackles at Florida. So I mean, when we were playing Florida, I think if he had gone to play or try out, he would have gotten picked up too. And I feel bad for Litton too, his family. Like, guys, if you got the money to go out and drink, you have the money for an Uber.
But at the same time, it sounds like it was completely out of Isaiah's control. It was.
Oh, it was.
The woman driving the Infiniti Q50. And I hope, I don't wish ill will on anybody, but I hope they throw the book at her. This is three.
Yeah, this wasn't her first time drinking and driving.
No, and it's 3 counts of vehicular manslaughter.
Mm-hmm. Good.
And plus all the damages and everything else. But after that, then you asked me about, Uber wouldn't have stopped this.
No.
You know what I'm saying? An Uber driver is no more trained than a regular driver.
No. What I'm saying is she should have called an Uber.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
That would have stopped it.
Then you were talking about.
Thank you, Fernando.
Thanks, Fernando.
Fernando, thank you for the. And
no, I am not holding these young men accountable at all. They did the right thing.
Okay. Right. Okay.
Y'all, side note, you guys don't know this. Candy, you might. Jeremy, I don't think you do. In 1999, I was actually in a drunk driving accident. If I sit up straight, let me move my hair. Sitting up straight, you can tell the shoulder hangs low because it's permanently dislocated. So, from a drunk driving accident. No, I was not driving. I was a passenger, and we got T-boned.
I get it.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm very opposed to not drinking and driving. It seems these gentlemen were.
See, we misunderstood what you meant by taking an Uber. I thought you were talking about the boys should have took an Uber, and I'm like going, no.
The boys did everything right.
Yeah.
The girls should have.
The problem is people don't necessarily know how alcohol affects them, and they think they can react quickly and that they'd be able to. But the problem is obviously she didn't, and it's not her first time. So that's where my issue lies. The multiple times, and honestly, if you're going to drink, either drink at home or have somebody else that's not drinking drive you.
Right, you take turns. When my best friend and I were younger, we would take turns. We would still go out and have fun, but one would stay sober, one would be drunk.
Mm-hmm.
I will plead the fifth because I drank it often in my 20s, and I was not a good boy. I just didn't get caught. Hey, at least I admit it.
That later on, Jeremy.
Mm-hmm. What's that?
I said, we'll discuss that later on, young man. Mm-hmm.
Hey, when I was in my 20s, I did a lot of stupid things.
We all did. Cam Newton stole the laptop.
But luckily we did it before the internet.
Huh?
Many people have too many people who are too experienced at drinking and driving.
Right.
Well, people think they're good at it when they're not. They've been lucky.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember driving home from a party one night and I was in my driveway with no marks on my car. Hey, I don't know how I got there, but I was good.
There was one night we had a work event and I got roasty toasty and I let I think it was a draw, but actually I kind of think Drake won the battle. Why? Yeah. Because he figured out he had a mole in his camp, so he started feeding false narratives. And Kendrick kind of got egg on his face. But you know what? Kendrick kind of won also since he won a Nobel Prize for literature. And Kendrick's a rapper.
One's winning at life and one won the rap battle. Let's put it that way.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Go
ahead. I'm sorry, Jeremy.
But you also mentioned about Chicago, correct?
Yeah, I was just about to go into that or segue in.
I think these guys that say they know their worth, they don't realize that there is a hard rookie cap for every position of the first round. You do not make any more than X amount of dollars, no matter what you think. So I'm thinking the problem might be with guaranteed money. That is to remain determined. It's undetermined yet. Right now, if you look at it, we beat the Rams in the playoffs. So long term, the Lions are winning, but short term, the Rams won. So it's a wash right now.
And I agree. Like with Caleb Williams, first of all, son. I'm just saying it now. Scott and I have said it for a very long time. Caleb's overrated. I'm sorry. I when your daddy is saying give me 10% ownership of a team, sir, that is not how it works. When you're refusing to do a medical exam or hand over your medical records, overinflated ego. Why? What are you hiding?
Exactly.
What are you hiding? And you're going to sit there and say you're better than CJ Stroud? You're going to sit there because if you look at Bryce's Young's numbers, they weren't that bad. Better than Bryce? He just had a crappy O-line, and we have had for 5 years. You're better than Cam Newton. You're better than Brett Favre. You're better than Steve Young, Montana. Let's come back to this generation.
We got to talk
Brock Purdy. He's better than Brock Purdy.
Right. You're talking post-rookie cap, so if you want to compare him to first-round picks, so he's saying he's better coming out of college than Joe Burrow, Trevor Lawrence. I'm talking about guys that were taking number 1 overall.
Yeah.
Because that's exactly how much money he should get. But I think it's more about haggling over the guaranteed money, because some of the first-round picks got 100% guaranteed salaries. Well, the difference is when you're the first pick and you're making almost $30 million a year right from the rip, and everybody else is making $14 million or less after you get out of the top 10. There's a big disparity there.
And you haven't proven your worth. Also, the NFL puts those financial stipulations in place.
Right.
Like, it's not the owners being trust me, if the owners could pay whatever they wanted, pretty sure Tom Brady would have been on my football team. Just saying.
Well, the Dolphins tried to get him on their team when he was headed to Tampa Bay. That's why they got in trouble.
We did too, but he wasn't going to deal with Tupper's arrogance at that time.
Will and Trevor played the position at a higher level. Both of them went out and won a national championship. Caleb never came close. No. And you're absolutely right. And this is why I think he's overrated. Every time he played a top 25 defense, he couldn't win.
Nope. And it just sticks in my head what his coworker, his teammate said. I was about to say coworker. Sorry, work mine. when his teammates, and I forgot which one it was, but he was like, all right, Caleb's not playing. Now we have a team.
Mm-hmm. Because he sat
and
out
his backup had a better game. No, admittedly, that's a fluke. And there had been very little tape on him, but he had a much better game than Caleb has had. Okay.
Talking about a guy that wrote
You're with the Chicago Bears. Our friend Jacob Kressner will tell you they haven't had a decent quarterback since the 70s. And that's including when they won back-to-back Super Bowls.
Oh, come on. They had Eric Kramer, who got them their yardage leader right now that they got from the Lions back in the 90s. Eric Kramer holds the record for Chicago Bears for most passing yards by a quarterback at 3,865 yards.
Don't tell him I said this in New Orleans next year, Candy, but I kind of forgot Eric Kramer played for them.
So my question is this the worst year ever for Chicago sports? The Bears were 7-10, last in the NFC North. The Bulls were 4th in the Central Division. The Cubs last in the NL Central. The Blackhawks last in the Central Division, and the White Sox are last in the AL Central. Right now, it's not good to be a Chicago fan.
No.
Aw, poor Chicago.
I'm a Cubbies fan. Back off, Candy.
Sorry.
I know. Okay, I'm sorry to play with my hair. I'm just getting hot. It's hot outside.
Yes, it is.
Oh, well, at least Detroit has the Lions to fall back on. I seriously want to hire somebody to put a billboard on top of LCA that says "Go Pistons" and take the Tigers with you.
Well, Detroit, the Lions did a great job last year. I actually think the Lions could probably go all the way as long as they score guns. But, you're right with basketball. But let's not talk Charlotte sports because, well, yeah, we were last in everything. Oh, are you? I didn't know that.
As you can tell, I mean, right there.
So I want to go over to a little Olympic news. I don't know if you guys have heard about Steven Velde, but he is a convicted child rapist in Holland. However, and I've got the statement right here. He has gone through rehab. He's gone to jail. He's had a team of therapists, and all throughout the time, he has been practicing his sport. However, he still raped a kid. Now, that was in 2018 when this happened. And the statement from the NOC, NSF, and Team NL said, this is the statement. Thank you for your response. We are aware about the renewed publicity of Steven Velde is causing a lot of emotion, which we fully understand. As the events at that time were very serious, a lot has happened since then. Steven served his sentence and has completed an extensive rehab program with specialized professionals, including the probation service. During this process, Velde has shown that he has grown and that he has positively changed his life. Experts have concluded that there's no risk of re-victimization. In 2018, he gave some interviews about his offense and its consequences. The Dutch national volleyball team, Federation NEVBO, as well as the Dutch National Olympic Committee, have closely monitored Steven's progress and explicitly followed the advice of experts. This process has been fully in line with the Dutch Guidelines Integrity Record, which set out the conditions that must be met by athletes to be given a second chance after a conviction. Steven has been given this chance and has been participating since 2017 on an international elite sport level. Throughout this time, he's consistently met the high standards set by the Volleyball Federation and NOC NSF. Based on all of the above and after careful consideration, NOC NSF has decided to select Steven for the Olympic Games in Paris. So my question is this. Okay, sorry. My question is this. Sha Carri Richards got booted out of the Olympics in 2020 for a little weed, which, if anything, is going to slow you down. It's not going to speed you up, right, y'all? And I mean, because back to drunk driving, I'd rather be behind a pothead and get frustrated with them driving too slow than a drunk driver who's going to potentially kill me. Do we think that's a fair comparison? Because that debate came to me and to my friend Nick, and because weed just helps you heal. Like when you're doing that much shin splints, blood cramps, things like that. And I mean, and I agree with you, Walter. I'm on the fence because you served your time. You've been with therapists. You've done all of this. And isn't that what jail's supposed to be? Rehab? But I don't know. Because you're not going to like... Sha Carri was in a weed legal state too. So, is it fair? Was it a double standard? That's my question.
Did he qualify?
Yeah.
I mean, you know, like we set standards and we say that these are the guidelines. And if you're the best person during whatever competition to get to that, to qualify, if there's nothing that says if you're a convicted felon or convicted of anything that you can't participate, then you know, I understand how we are on the fence, but we also must believe in rehabilitation. Exactly. And that it's going to work, you know, and things that people can change. We all say people can't change, but you know, they can.
No, I fully believe people can change.
You know, there must be some type of certification with this rehab to say he's fully rehabbed in society in order for him to qualify on the mental side of it. Because you remember, they're given mental tests before they go into the Olympics too, to handle the stress and to make sure they're not going to suffer a psychotic break type of thing. So if he passed all of that, plus he had the physical attributes and whatever qualifications to make it on that team, he deserves to go on that standard alone. And to judge him otherwise, when the court system put him back on the street, he did all the rehab, and evidently he has all those certifications to give the Olympic board, then he deserves to go. And it's not our place to judge it, but it does throw up what are a red flag for former crimes to be committed that they would say, oh no, you can't go. I think it would have to deal with something murderish, you know what I mean, before they tell you, yeah, you're not going, buddy.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. How you know, how bad does the whatever you were convicted of, like what level do we say is the cap? Like, but again, like a murder, you're not getting out in 20 or 30 years, so you probably would not still be able to qualify and beat the younger generation of whatever sport you thought you were going to qualify in either, though. So it's tough. It is tough. We think we put Olympic athletes on a pedestal, especially if they win. And so is it hard for us to put someone that's done something like that, that's been rehabilitated?
Since we know he's in, what event is he in?
Volleyball.
Oh, volleyball. Okay.
And Sha Carri said in 2020 that she smoked weed when she found out her biological mother passed away. Sorry, I was reading Wikipedia real quick there because I want to make sure I remember that correctly.
You know, that type of stress is a different thing. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? That type of stressor is a different thing, and it makes it's no different than a parent who loses a child that loses a parent that loses a sibling. All those things line up in a different stress level and are probably forgiven for the most part. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Okay. So I think we're all like, he should, including Walter, it is a dilemma But see, and I want to know if they spoke to the victim and asked the victim if she was cool with it. Like, I know they didn't have to by any stretch of the imagination, but I'm curious.
Was it a minor?
Yes.
It was pedophilia, right? That they were talking about, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, in order for him to get out, do you know who has to be at the parole board hearing?
But I think they were close. Well, he's already out of jail.
I know, but
you
in order
got a point.
for him
You got
to
a
get
point
out,
there. Well, even in the Netherlands,
that child's parents and the victim has to be at the parole board hearing.
Okay. Even in the Netherlands.
It doesn't matter. A parole board is a parole board. To get out, you have to have those qualifications. Somebody from the victim's family has to be there to represent the victim's family other than a lawyer.
Right. And I need to do a little more digging because I want to know why, like what the age difference was.
Right. And I don't even want to know all that. That's neither here nor there. The fact that it was...
We're talking like a year age difference and the parents got mad because their kid was having sex.
Right. I mean, that happens all the time. We see that here in America.
Mm-hmm.
Those lacrosse boys that had their careers ruined over that girl.
Yeah. And they weren't true. Jeremy, we need to continue this next week because we want to end on a happy story. So I think we're going to do this happy story by Miss Candy Cane, the Candy Corner.
Hey, we're gonna talk about none other than Jessica Campbell. And if you do not know who this person is, this female is, she made history last week, becoming the first woman to be named an NHL coach when she was hired as the Seattle Kraken assistant. She said she's humbled, obviously, to be in this position. You speak to the word first, to be the first. But that's never really where my focus is. It's always on the work. It's on the impact. It's on the job. There's a lot to do in this game and to this job, and so I've never taken it for granted. Though I am honored to be the first, I don't want to be the only. And I honestly don't feel like I'm the only one in this organization. She was the first AHL coach, now female coach. Now she's the first NHL coach. She is on the bench. She's not the head coach. But way to go for her. As we were doing pre-production, I was telling Jeremy, I'm kind of getting tired of us even having to say she's the first of, like, let's get it all over. Let's get it done with. I want to be all the first to be out there so that we can just be talking about accomplishments going forward. But way to go.
Oh,
right.
Congratulations.
Here. 2024, I'm at the point, who cares if she's qualified, then she deserves the job. 100%.
Exactly.
But I talk to the old boys club because there's certain places that have not had a women's coach. It's time to rip off the Band-Aid.
The same with minority coaches as well. Rip off the Band-Aid of all of the technical terms that we're gonna. I mean, I want
minority coaches now, right?
Something like that.
Or are we back to 5 with Canales?
I think you're back to 5.
Because Rivera's out of the league, and I know he was the 5th. And the first head coach of an NFL team to bring in a female assistant coach. Even though the chick in San Francisco got all the glory, it was actually Jennifer King with the Carolina Panthers brought in under Coach Rivera, and she went with them to the Commanders.
Right.
Okay,
so
sorry.
I'm just ready for it to be done with all the first minority, first
all that stuff.
Female. But I'm so proud of Jessica to do it.
Yeah. I expect you to get her on our show, Candy.
She actually played too.
Oh, really?
Yes. She played.
Awesome.
I want to say overseas. She played professionally in Canada and Sweden.
That's awesome.
Yes.
Well, there's been many great women players that have came out of Canada. Not all of them have stuck with hockey because they actually have a collegiate and a semi-pro circuit for women up there. I mean, it's a professional circuit because it's the only professional league they have. So you might as well just say it's not semi-pro, it's professional. There's the one lady that quit because she's so good looking as a goalie, she became an Instagram model now. You guys all know
That's funny.
from Canada. That's their problem, Old Boy Network, not the rest of us who only want to see people who get the job, who cares exactly who they sleep with or the reflection in the mirror. 100%.
Agreed.
But I mean, she's literally a fashion model, and she still promotes the fact that she was one of the best goalies in that collegiate league up in Canada. So, but she doesn't play anymore because she makes more money off of her Instagram than she would in the Canadian league.
Well, guys, I love you both, but you both have to get to the other side of the pond down in Florida. Yay. Woohoo. So everybody go check out South Florida Tribune, and you'll see Candy and Jeremy and the wonderful Scott. Mel Farr Jr., if memory serves correctly, who else will be on tonight? And hi, Mel. I hope you're watching.
Coach Bono, and let me think who else is going to be on. Besides Scott, Travis will be on. I think that's the lineup for tonight. So,
okay.
So
we will back on again. Jeremy, thank you so much for coming on. We really appreciate it. We're going to have you back on again.
Oh, I understand. Walter, I know what you're saying, but they're a part of that league that travels into Canada because there isn't a big network of teams here in the United States for women to play this yet. They're still building the network to make it to where there's a Canadian side and then an American side, so they can do the America versus Canada type all-star game, and they're trying to get it there. But right now, there's still more teams in Canada than there is in America. I know what the goal of the vision of that league is, but at the same time, it falls under that whole women's sport.
Jeremy, tell everybody where they can find you.
Well, as you heard, I'm going to be on the South Florida Tribune channel on here. But I also have my own channel where I go live now 9 times a week because I just opened up another show on Sunday. So I don't have any days off anymore. So I got Monday through Friday at noon to 1 p.m. on YouTube, which is my channel, Kneecap Biting with the Motor City Lions. It also goes into 2 Facebook groups, Huddle Up Sports Network, and, of course, Kneecap Biting with the Motor City Lions Facebook page. It also goes into Roku. It goes into Amazon. And then I have Monday, Wednesday, and Friday nights at 9 p.m., Wednesday being an NFL-based show. But Monday and Friday are Lions-based shows. And on the Friday show, I invite other Lions fans to come in and talk about the news that's happened throughout the week or opinions on the roster. And I also write for the South Florida Tribune under the Motor City Tribune heading, where I write about the NFL and the Detroit Lions.
And then, Candy, where can everybody find you at?
Well, you can always find me here Tuesday nights. And then you can always find me on the South Florida Tribune YouTube channel. You never know what show I'm going to be on. But you can also go to southfloridatribune.com and you can see my pictures because I take pictures. So go there and, check us out.
And then you guys can find me here on Tuesday nights to jump around on other people's podcasts as well. And you can also find me on Twitter at Jenna Sherrill, the professional fan. You can also find me on Reddit and on Facebook, obviously. And below, I have our link. So everybody, please try to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We'd really appreciate it. Our team does not just these podcasts, but we have people doing a lot of entertainment things, some really cool interviews. I'm about to do some uploads for some more things that I've done. And then we're going to have also, if y'all have any questions, I'm going to be covering ACC kickoff in about a week and a half, 2 weeks. So I really need to request that PTO. Krista, if you're watching, I'll send you that email tomorrow at work. And I will, but I'm really excited about all of this. So we'll be uploading a lot of different content, but feel free to please subscribe and check that notification button. And thank you guys. Now go on over to the South Florida Tribune and give Scott my love.
We will. Thank you. Bye, everybody.